It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body, supplements that get you moving and keep you moving, that make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world, and you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world watching this awesome Wellness Wednesday. My name is Holly DeMott, and I am thrilled to be here with you as I have 4 amazing guests. We have this special chiropractic edition, and that's why I'm so excited for you all to hear really 4 different testimonials from chiropractors of their own personal product usage, why they said yes to these products, what sets these apart, and are they recommending them to their patients, and what's happening there. So we're going to cover a lot of bases here, and I can't wait for us to get started. For you to know a little bit about me, I am joining you from the Midwest, the center of the United States. I am in a state called Iowa, and with being in Iowa, I get to, work with people all over the world. That's the beauty of our industry, our company, is we get to touch people all over the world with health products. And health is universal. That's one thing that, when I was in Hong Kong and I was on stage and I heard different testimonials, and I'm like, wow, these are products that are needed everywhere, all over North America, all over the world. So we're only in phase 1 of our company right now with 15 countries opened, and we can't wait for the next phases. This is an amazing time to be involved. One, yes, for your own product usage, yes, to feel your best. My own testimony has to do with feeling and looking younger. People hear me shout that from the rooftops all the time. I'm all about being proactive with my health. I'm all about, beauty inside out. I absolutely love how these products address gut health. They address immune health. They address inflammation. Like, there's testimonials that come out where I'm like, wow. And it's things that I would never have thought I would have heard a testimony on. These products are so proactive, addressing full body health, and they're changing lives. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our very first guest. Our first guest is joining us from North Liberty, Iowa, which is right by Iowa City. So those of you that may be familiar with the University of Iowa, she's over there. And her name is Dr. Carla Adair. She runs her own practice. And I'm going to turn it over to her. I want you guys to hear her story, as it's a good one, really good one.
Thank you, Holly. Yes, my name is Dr. Carla Adair, and I practice out of North Liberty, Iowa. I've been a chiropractor for 18 years. I opened up my own practice right away, and I had a big health challenge in the last 5 years. So before we knew COVID was in Iowa, I had a really bad infection, and I wasn't sure what my illness was. Turns out later it was actually COVID. So I have had 3 COVID infections total with pneumonia, like each time. So it really did a number on me and my health, and it really affected how I could show up for patients and show up for my family. I searched high and low for lots of different things. Some of my symptoms were fatigue, brain fog, exercise intolerance, post-exertional malaise. I was, seen and then dismissed 3 different times, like from University of Iowa long COVID clinic. And I have done like cardiopulmonary exercise tests. I did trying to figure out kind of what my symptoms, were and how I could fix things. I ended up having like a migraine for essentially a year and a half, and I practiced with the lights off. So I was seeing patients with just like window lights, and I was very, straightforward with my patients, and they could see, that I was struggling too. But it really affected me because I was a primary income earner for my family, and essentially I had to break down and see about half as many patients as before. So it affected me like on every single level. So I was really impressed with the 3 supplements, but it took me quite a while to try them. And that's definitely just like my only regret is what I would say. I had a lot of things going on. And so I had tried a whole lot of different things. And some of my other symptoms were like brain fog. And the first product that I tried, I was introduced by Dr. Shannon White, and she's in Des Moines, and she went to Palmer Chiropractic College with me. And I finally tried that one, and I got rid of the brain fog within the first week of trying it. And I had so much like head pressure, and I felt so much better instantly. I thought, oh, wow, is this really real? It was pretty amazing though. So then the next month I tried a few more of the products, and I felt really good. I had a whole lot more energy, and I no longer had like those crashes if I would, move my body too much. Like I can't really exercise, but I'm getting more hopeful to the point where I could try potentially to exercise. And I think the products from 3 are incredible, and their like cellular absorption is the difference maker. I can literally feel it in my body and making a difference that way. So yeah, I'm really excited for all of these products, and I definitely recommend them to my patients. I've gotten a lot of patients ask me like, are you feeling better? Like you look better. And I'm saying, yeah, I definitely feel a lot better. And they're like, yeah, you've got a little bit more spring in your step. I like to think that I could probably fake it a little bit, but I think they knew, I was hurting pretty good. But yeah, since I started taking these products, it's only been like basically 5 months. They've also noticed a lot of good changes. And so I've been recommending them, and they've had really good results. So I've had some patients with like low back pain, chronic disc issue, waking up with much less stiffness, more mobility in the morning, and patients with sleeping better, perimenopause symptoms improved, more energy, more focus. So lots and lots of good things.
Nice. So the first product you tried, and I know you already said, I wish I would have tried these earlier. That was your only regret. So the first product you tried that you said really helped with your brain fog, which product was that?
That was the collagen.
Okay. Okay. The
Yep.
collagen. So you know what, we'll get to that at the end. I want to kind of dive into that a little bit, where people may be like, why that one?
Right.
Amazing. And yes, you've introduced it to your patients. And I just was talking with Dr. Carla about some of her patients that we met at a meeting, and she was telling me their results already. So exciting. So exciting that these products, they produce results. They produce results.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can feel it. Right. And I've tried so many things over the past 5 years. And so, just feeling the results like within my body, I'm excited to see further, month to month, how much better I can even get yet. So I'm really excited.
Nice. Nice. Well, thank you for sharing your story. And I'm going to have you pop back on at the end.
Okay,
And thank you so much. And our next guest is joining us from the Midwest, right here in Iowa. and Dr. Tammy Watkins. So Dr. Tammy Watkins is a pediatric chiropractor. She is in her practice most days of the week, busy seeing littles and adults. And Dr. Tammy, I know many people come to you for advice on nutrition and such. So when you were approached about 3, was it an immediate yes for you? Were you like, wow, look at these studies. This is a yes?
That's a great question. I wish I was an immediate yes, but I did take some time. I am what you would like to call a sea urchin, and I love to get a lot of information. I love to dig deep, ask all the nitty-gritty questions. And honestly, I just felt like what we had already in our clinic, we also had a functional medicine space as well, that we had the best products that were out there. We'd done our research and we had on our shelves what I thought was the most beneficial that we could try for myself, for my family, and for our patients. And then I started seeing one of my colleagues, Dr. Alicia, who introduced me to 3, I saw her changing. And then one of my dearest friends started taking these products and I saw her changing. They were literally aging backwards. Their skin was brighter. Their age spots were going away. They just had more energy in their step. And that pushed me even more to dig deeper and ask more of the questions.
Wow. And so then once you started using the products, what are some personal differences that you've experienced?
Great question. I had amazing results and I had them fast. And it's still, I shouldn't say it surprises me knowing what I know now, knowing what I know now about the products and the continual testimonial after testimonial that we hear. But I would say the biggest change I noticed absolutely right away was the amount of energy, which as I'm a wife, I'm a busy mom of 4 kiddos. We homeschool, work at the PTA, do all the things. And I just was always so tired at night. As moms, we always wish we had more time. And I just could not function. I was typically falling asleep as my kids were falling asleep. And it was within weeks of starting this line of products, this system, that I was noticing that I was awake after my kids. And not only was I awake, but I was getting things done that I had never done, that I had never been able to do before. So being a busy mom, it was truly a gift to have hours added to my day to get things done. And also bowel regularity. In my clinic, we talk about bowel movements daily. There's such an amazing and important indicator of health, but he noticed a huge change in my bowel health. And I'd been taking prebiotics, probiotics, eating all of the good things, but noticing a really big difference in regularity and consistent of bowel movements. And that just made me feel better overall as well. So those were my personal immediate experiences. And that combined with some pretty significant patient testimonials, I was all in.
How soon did you have your children start taking the products?
It was within the first 2 months I started having my kids take the products because the simplicity and the ease. I was giving my children, I was opening on average probably 7 to 8 bottles every morning into their little stainless steel pill cups. And so once I started to take parts of the 3 system and I realized, oh my goodness, these are whole foods. I can give these to my kids. I don't have to be opening 8 bottles in order to get all these things. And they would fight me for that. They couldn't swallow. Not all of them could swallow. It was a battle of getting them into their bodies, but I knew the importance. So that was a struggle I was willing to take on each morning. But once I was able to dig deep, realize what was in, how many things were in one package was a game changer for our family. A lot less arguing in the morning, but they were getting a lot more things into their system. And not only were they getting more things, they were getting things that were more clean and they were getting more of a variety of things. Even though we eat well, there's still gaps in our nutrition and in our diet. So it was so great knowing that my kids were getting all of those gaps filled in. They were getting all that foundational help in an easy, effective way. So it was pretty quick that we started, and now all 4 are getting those products daily.
Yes, the curation of the products is such a power punch where we're not having to take as adults, 20 bottles or 40 bottles, whatever it may be. I mean, our immune product has 18 ingredients in it. And I wasn't taking all 18, maybe 10 of those. So yes, simplicity. You nailed it with that, with yourself, your kids, your patients. Thank you for sharing your story. And I'm going to have you
Yes.
pop back on at the end as well. I can't wait for
Yeah,
a
I
little
was just
Q&A.
I wanted to add the same thing, just as easy for kids. It's been such a great thing for pregnant women as well, who are really, I see a lot of prenatal patients. And so oftentimes in that first trimester when they can't eat a lot, when it's hard for them to get supplements in, the fact that they can just open that up and pour powder into their food has been great to get them good energy, where most are feeling frustrated that they can't get that.
Really good point. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, thank you, Tammy. And next, I'm going to go ahead and welcome Dr. Alicia Clevenger, and she is also a pediatric chiropractor with an emphasis in nutrition. And she is a busy mom of 3 kiddos, very similar. She had access to the best of the best for herself, her patients, her family, and she has linked arms with 3. She's introduced this to hundreds of different health professionals. And one of the reasons why there's within her team alone, just so many joining. And so I'm going to go ahead and not steal everything that she does, and I'm going to have her share her story.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me tonight. I'm the 3rd chiropractic mom in a row to go. So it's like, okay, what little snippets have I been missed that I can add in? Because a lot of my story is so much the same. Unlike those 2 before me, though, I don't actively practice anymore full time. I walked away from practice in 2015. And so I've been a chiropractor almost 25 years. And I was busy. I had a very, very busy practice and I was very burnt out. And so I walked away from full-time practice, but I have spent almost 25 years working within the supplement field, within the supplement industry, making recommendations to people. I can remember there was a point where people would come in and they'd dump all their bottles on my desk and I would pick them apart. I love ingredients. I'm a huge ingredient nerd. And where most people would look at a supplement and say, oh, that's vitamin C, let me take it. And that's not me. I want to know where it's sourced from, how it's made, how it's tested. Like I want to know questions that most people could care less about. And why? Because if I'm going to put it in my body every day, I want to know that it's actually making a difference. The truth be told, I didn't know a lot about absorption because most people aren't focusing on it. A lot of companies have really high quality ingredients. And so I encounter people regularly who will say to me, I take really great quality supplements or they're organic. And I'm, yep, so did I. I did too. I was one of those people. I took those kind of supplements. I had access to whatever. As chiropractors, we can send in our license and I can try whatever I want. And I did. We had a supplement graveyard at our house. I joke that we had the bottles stacked in there vertically, and then we had them horizontally on top. I mean, it was a cupboard stuffed full, 3 shelves full of supplements, and we were taking all the parts and pieces. So I had access to very high quality, but I'm not sure. Now I am sure that we noticed amazing changes. So I was taking what I thought I was supposed to be taking. I don't know that other than a probiotic, I missed a day or 2, if I could tell a huge change, even with some of the high quality stuff we were taking. And so I was actually introduced to 3, not necessarily just for the products, it was for the business. When the friend that called me said, I think it's worth your time to take a look at this. And I remember I walked in that day rather arrogant about, oh, they're supplements. Well, that's my whole career. And then I started asking questions. And when I did, they just kept checking the boxes. They were clean, they were sourced well, they were third-party tested, they were made in facilities that I was approving of. And they had the studies to back it. And so I knew, why wouldn't I try these? So we tried them and we noticed a difference right out of the gate. I noticed a difference in how I felt. I had more energy. I was sleeping better. I think I was one of those people who thought, well, aging is just part of life, and not necessarily that I felt bad. I felt great, right? Like I didn't feel, so many people say, well, I have this or that. I felt good on a regular basis. I didn't know how good I could feel, if that makes sense. I started taking these products and I was like, whoa, and it really was, I don't want to go a day without them. I could tell a difference at the end of the day, like Tammy. Wasn't tired. I didn't feel at 4 o'clock I'm like, oh, I could take a nap. That was gone. I had energy. I could get up and down the floor with my kids, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I've been sitting there a little too long, right? Like all those kind of things every day made a really huge difference. And then I took my biggest skeptic, which is my husband, he was taking everything I've given him for 20 years, and he never complained. And then he started taking them, and he said, I don't know what you've been giving me for the past 20 years, but it's not this. And this is so good. So we were sold right out of the gate. And yeah, I want to, when you take something and you can really tell the difference, you want to share it with everybody you know.
Really, really good. So with your husband, Jason, I know you always like to share about the products being husband friendly. It's kind of a joke Alicia shared.
It is a joke, and they are very husband friendly. And yes, what were you going to ask?
So with his story, what would you say a couple of the key products have been for him? And I know he takes all of them, but you did keep one from him.
I did. So right out of the gate, there's 6 supplements. We now have the neurocosmetic and the skincare line, but there's 6 supplements that we take every day. But I only gave him 5. The 6th was the collagen. And I was like, he looks fine. He doesn't have crow's feet. He doesn't have wrinkles. Like, he's good. And then Dr. Shannon actually was talking about how the product got her running again. She was a former runner who had to quit running because of major toe pain. And he was complaining about his knees, and he would say, his knees were getting bad for him. He used to be a marathon runner, and he had to stop. And the joke at our house is, well, your knees would be better. You just need to find a better chiropractor. Haha. He's like, I married one. And so one day I decided, okay, I'm going to give you this collagen. You have to take it 10 days straight. And I took a Sharpie out, and he agreed. And at the end of one 10-day round of collagen, he was like, I can tell a huge difference in my knees. And he wanted to try running again. And I said, no, you have to wait a couple months. So he kept doing it 10 days on, 20 days off, like our collagen is. And after 3 months, he's back to running again. He can run, and his knees don't bother him. So that was huge. Digestion was huge for him. And then the big one was the super serum, the neurocosmetic skincare. So when that came out, he he heard me talking about the sleep and the amazing sleep people get from our neurocosmetic, from a skincare. And he said, what is that? Like, I can sleep better? And I was like, oh yeah. So he started taking it. And well, first I'll tell you, he asked me if he had to wash his face. And I said, well, I suppose not. And so he puts it on every night before he goes to bed. He keeps it by his bedside table, and the sleep is incredible. And he is a walking testimonial, because now he has shared it with his mom. He's shared it with his sister. He has all kinds of people enrolling, and it's because he talks to them about the sleep. He could care less about the skincare, but he is looking younger, which is even better.
And it's a neurocosmetic. We'll get into that a little bit here in a minute.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Alicia, for sharing all
Absolutely.
of that. Really, really great for everyone to hear that. And our next guest is joining us from the East Coast. We're going to go over to Pennsylvania. Dr. Darren Mazeppa, welcome.
Aloha.
Aloha. So got the Hawaii spirit going on. And yes, share your story. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I love hearing it, and I want the world of 3 to hear as well.
I usually love going last, but man, I'm trying to find anything to say after those 3 amazing stories. Yes, I'm a chiropractor. I'm in practice coming up on 31 years in practice, and I'm second generation. My father was a chiropractor before me. In my hometown, there's been a chiropractor named Mazeppa for 64 continuous years. And so this is more than just my career. This is literally my whole life. My dad used the exact same product line in his office going all the way back to the 60s, early 60s, that I use in my office. And my 3 stories kind of weird because I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't have any plans or any association with anything. My partner brought something to me that she was interested in taking, and she wanted me to vet it. She wanted me to see, is it worth it? Is it good? Is it junk? And like, what's the deal? And I looked at it, and kind of like several people have said before, we went on the deep dive. I wanted to look behind the curtain and see exactly what was happening with these products. What was in them? Where did it come from? Alicia talked about all the nerd stuff. I'm a nerd too. I wanted to know all of the tough questions. So much so that I actually met with Dr. Dan Gubler, the chief scientific officer, and I kind of grilled him because I knew what questions to ask and I knew what I wanted to know. And very thoughtfully and very thoroughly answered every one of my questions. And it really helped me to be able to see these products. I went to Laura, my partner, and I said, yeah, you should take these things. And then I said, you know what? I think I want to take these things and I think I want to bring them into the practice. Once her jaw bounced off the ground, she couldn't believe that I actually went that far because I'd been taking the same supplement line from a company in Palmyra, Wisconsin that I thought was amazing. I wasn't looking for anything. And then I got the simplicity part that all of the other three doctors had mentioned also. The company that I had been taking was excellent at the pieces and parts. And they had so many products, and it might be 6, 8, 10, 12, 20 bottles of stuff. And nothing wrong with that. I was so used to that. But this system made it so simple. As Dr. Alicia had said, there's only 6 products in the actual nutrition line, and they all work so well together. They work synergistically. Every single one of them does their job in their lane. I actually jumped in whole hog without ever putting a single product in my mouth. I was that impressed with the science. I was that impressed with the absorption. And all of those things were just inspiring to me because I knew why Dr. Dan put this with that and why that was in there and why it was in there with that. I got it. I saw his vision and I was just so impressed. Personally, I've got some pretty interesting anecdotes about the consumables and even the neurocosmetic. The most interesting thing was I've used a sleep tracking app for 7 years now, and it tracks every aspect of my sleep very effectively. And one of the things that I would do, because I was just looking at making my body work better, I would take one of the Revive and one of the Purify every night at bedtime. And then I started to notice a little change in my sleep app. What it would tell me was I was snoring less and I was getting deeper sleep. It tells you how deep, REM, all the different things. And my sleep was much more restorative. And I went from 4 to 5 hours of snoring to maybe an hour and 20 minutes. And when I would go back and listen, it wasn't even snoring. It was just me breathing. So that wasn't anything I ever expected. And then the neurocosmetic and the skincare line came out. Never in my life did I think I'd be talking about skincare as a chiropractor. But I saw the science on the neurocosmetics and I knew I'm intrigued. I'm curious about this. So the Visage Super Serum, I started using it. I wanted to be able to tell my patients I've used it too. And I noticed the age spots on the back of my hands almost completely disappeared within a week or two. Why my hands? Because I'd pump it out on there, then I'd apply it to my face, and whatever was left over, I'd rub it into the back of my hands. And so it was an incidental change that I wasn't even really gearing up for. So again, like everybody else said, I was impressed with the science. I certainly was impressed with the absorption, and I knew these were for me. And in our practice, it's been a complete game changer. We're sharing with people. We're seeing people who have taken other things in the past or have finally decided it's time for me to take something. Would you please guide me in what direction is best? And it's really been amazing what we've seen. And I'm a year and a half in, and I'm still completely impressed.
And I know many of your patient testimonials, and
Yeah.
they are so awesome. One time that sticks out for me, Dr. Darren, is when you were in Japan.
Oh.
So typically we take 2 Revive at a time, it helps with inflammation. And Dr. Darren was over there on vacation with his son, and you either ran out or you forgot your
I
Revive.
forgot it. When I came home, the little Ziploc full of Revive was on the peninsula in my kitchen. And I was not happy about that. We were averaging about 25 to 30,000 steps a day. And I could feel it. And I could compare that to another vacation that we had taken when we hit theme parks in Florida. And I had it with me. And there, I always say there's vacation, then there's Disney vacation. And we had a heck of a lot of steps. In Japan, now these products are available in Japan. I was desperate to find somebody that I could just get a bottle of Revive from. It's so true. So when you're taking them, you also know when you're not taking them. It's very true.
Very true. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And let's invite everyone else to come back on and join us. Everybody pop your cameras on. Awesome. So thank you all for sharing. And I want to dig into a few things. I'm going to go backwards. I want to go backwards to Dr. Carla taking the collagen. And so Dr. Alicia, why would the collagen help with her brain fog?
Yeah. So the company has done multiple studies, and one of the studies was an epigenetic study, and they looked at 8 different genes. There's multiple reasons for the brain fog, but one of them is our collagen affects a gene called BDNF. And if you haven't heard of it, you're going to hear of it very soon because it's very hot right now. And BDNF is a gene that has to do with cognitive function and brain health. So right there out of the gate, it increases and stimulates that exponentially. So that's part 1. Part 2 is she probably had a lot of inflammation, and collagen lowers our collagen, not all collagen, ours does, lowers inflammation quite a bit. It affects NRF. It affects multiple different genes that were probably a huge part of the reason she had the brain fog.
That's awesome to hear because not all collagens are equal.
No, they are not. They are
Not all.
And I've never heard of a collagen that affects brain health. I mean, ours affects hair, skin, nails, joints, but brain health also, that's huge.
Yes. Okay, that's awesome. I want to go and talk about the sleep. So whoever wants to talk about it. Dr. Darren mentioned his sleep has improved. And I know we've heard this, we've heard this from so many people. I would say, and you guys help me, correct me. I've heard Purify, Revive, the Visage Serum, all of those are like this combo to have less inflammation. Your body's naturally detoxing, not having to work as hard through the night. And of course, the neuro component with hormones. Would you all agree?
I live it every night.
And so we don't have a sleep product. So many people think, oh, but there's one sleep. No, it's full body health.
That's exactly right. And I think that is really the point. We're not looking to make anything go away. We're looking at making our bodies work better. And when our body's in a greater sense of balance and actually working better, all of the symptoms and the experiences as a result of an imbalanced body go away.
I mean, you're
Really
talking
good.
for people that have dedicated their lives to proactive health, and then 3 international walked in the door. Is kind of how it is.
I know that's what's so cool about it. And so with the products, Dr. Tammy, have you, with your patients, with friends, family, you've introduced this to, or yourself even, have you seen a difference with people's hormones?
100%. Yes. So I am still very passionate about the pediatric and prenatal space, but as I entered my mid-40s, so did the patients that I started seeing 20 years ago. And so I was hearing a lot more of, I'm not sleeping well, I'm more bloated, I have more puffiness, I have more brain fog. And 100% people have come back and said they notice a difference once they are starting the 3 products. Certainly when we talk through, well, which one's helpful for hormones? All of them are helpful for hormones. Our body is just more deficient. Oftentimes, the further on that we're going, our cells are having more rapid turnover. Our estrogen is a really amazing natural anti-inflammatory for the body. And so as estrogen levels are decreasing, that additional support, especially from the Revive, has been a game changer for people. Purify, the better our liver's working, the better balance we have of getting the bad estrogen out of the body to help the good ratios of good estrogen to progesterone so that the body's functioning at a better level. Collagen, a lot of people aren't aware when we talk about women specifically in hormones after menopause, those first 5 years, women's collagen levels decrease about a significant amount. It's 30% in the 5 years following menopause. And so to have collagen on board, and not only any collagen, but one that's well absorbed and has the benefits for also the inflammation and the cognitive support. So women are seeing less brain fog, better cognitive function, less bloating. Their clothes are able to fit better, less hot flashes because their body's working better. Again, it's not that we're taking things away. We're adding the nutrients back into the body to allow the processes to work in an even more powerful and efficient system. And that is a gift, especially when you are talking to perimenopause and menopausal women who have been told a story that it's just something we have to get through. There is hope out there, and a lot of it comes from 3.
Thank you. Gosh, thank you for adding all of that. Okay, and then for anyone who wants to take this, does sourcing matter?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm laughing because I wouldn't be having this conversation with you if their sourcing wasn't exquisite.
So exquisite. They source all around the world, and they do rigorous testing 3 different times through raw materials, through in manufacturing, post manufacturing, and they test for pesticides, insecticides, heavy metals. They test for radionuclear activity. Like, it is extensive. And I know, Dr. Alicia, that's one thing that got your attention.
And not only that, they're transparent with their manufacturing processes. So they actually publish them and share them. So not many companies will do that. They'll tell you they're one thing, but are they going to actually show you the document that says that they are? Most don't. And so this is actually shared and able to be reviewed by people. We do source from all over the world. And so when those come into the facility, you want to make sure that the standards are of that manufacturing facility, not just the country you got them from. And so all of those things play such a huge part.
One of the questions I asked Dr. Dan was about sourcing. And he said, how do you know you're getting a good sample? How do you know you're getting a good product? And he said the 4 magic letters I just needed to hear. He said HPLC. He said every sample is run through high performance liquid chromatography. And that way we know what we're getting. And it was one of those, I knew the answer. I just wanted to hear him say it. And he said it. So again, we talk about checking boxes. That was a big box for me.
And I think there's a lot of big buzzwords out there when we talk about liposomal has gotten some steam in the last few years about, oh, well, we have liposomal vitamin C or we have liposomal XYZ. Well, especially if you're going to say that you have something that's going to absorb better than other products out there, I want to be certain that what's absorbing into my cells is clean and pure. And so that was a big deal. That sourcing tied with the absorption, that really matters.
That's a great point. So knowing you're not absorbing synthetics, everything's whole food based, and that leads to absorption matters. And, Dr. Darren, you alluded, yes, you use supplements all of your life.
Absolutely.
And, what you thought was the best of the best. And then here walked in 3. And when we were talking absorption, and there's 11, 12 different absorption technologies that the company uses. And so we do have a bioavailability study. And would you just speak to that a little bit?
Sure. The bioavailability study is really important because it doesn't show you that these things are being absorbed. It shows you how efficiently they're being absorbed. And that's really important to me because some molecules are harder to get into human physiology than others. Sometimes, the metaphor I always make is a lot of supplements may be very good, but their molecular structure would be like shoving a bowling ball through the eye of a needle. And these things are more like putting marble in a golf cup. that kind of thing. It's much easier to get it in there than it is to shove something giant through a teeny tiny hole.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And one other question. So the company has 7 of their products in the PDR, the physician's desk reference or prescriber's digital reference. I know that's not the chiropractor's, handbook that you guys go to. It's more in the medical, more allopathic world. Yet the nutraceutical world has entered that. How, with your conversations with people, has that been a major aha moment for some people to be like, what? I know, Dr. Alicia, you have many nurses that when they saw that, their arms went from crossed to uncrossed. Would you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the PDR is not something that when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's great. Because the truth is, as chiropractors, we don't prescribe drugs. And so it is very much a model. It's a book. It's created in 1947, and it is the resource for healthcare professionals, for them to be able to look up the pharmaceuticals and the things they recommend and how they interact. It is, I guess, quote unquote, their Bible of what they prescribe. And so since 1947, they've only allowed 21 supplement companies into that resource. And so we're one of the 21, 3 is, and they're the only one of the 21 with that whole line. And that really is a big deal. So it means it's twofold. It means that when a recommendation is made to somebody and they want to ask their healthcare provider, the healthcare provider can look it up and they can see, oh, these are in our resource. And what we're seeing over and over again is that medical providers are saying, oh, they're in the PDR? Yeah, like absolutely. And they're much more open to supplements, where I think many of us could probably speak to it hasn't always been that way. And so it's in there, and that's the first part. And the second part is a lot of healthcare providers are actually joining our team and becoming part of 3. And that is a reason why medical doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, dentists, a lot chiropractors, all the health professions are joining. And it's because they can validly say and recommend this to their colleagues and friends, because it's something that is in the resource that they use and is respected within their profession. And that is huge.
Very much so. Okay, and then the next question, and this will be our final one. With all of you, with running kids around, with running your practices, your businesses, everything, does it take much time to take these products?
No, not at all. It's great. I love
It
it.
takes a lot less time to take 6 things than it does to take 66 things.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And then for compliance, and Dr. Carla, like compliance with, especially a lot of your beautiful patients that just got started last month on it, like they started, are they calling you daily to be like, how do I take this? When do I take this? Or is compliance pretty high with it?
Yeah, compliance is great. Yeah. I would say the packaging is amazing. It says on there, if they forget 1 or 2, it says right there what they need to take. I think the packets are super handy. If you don't feel like taking it right away in the morning with your coffee, you can throw it in your purse and take it later that day or such. So super handy that way. And also the multivitamin with Omega has a handy little packet. You can grab that and throw it in your purse too. So patients love that. And I often just grab my little sample here and I say, all you have to do is just grab one of these, and they're like, oh, yes. So absolutely. They love it.
We love that, because no one wants to buy supplements and then see a full box or jar and be like, oh, darn it, I forgot. Like, that's what we love. People remember to take these. And like Dr. Darren, when he was in Japan, he forgot. But really, we will notice when people stop taking them, or maybe they ran out, then they're like, okay, how do I get my order in again? Like, that's when they're really working. Okay, so thank you all. Yeah, go ahead, Tammy.
I was just going to say, I know the other reason compliance is so high is I remember distinctly, we used to have not only a pill box for patients to pick AM, noon, PM, mid-afternoon, mid-morning, but also a sheet with food, 1 hour before food, 1 hour after food, away from any medications. And because of the absorption technology that 3 uses, I love Dr. Dan's recommendation. You really get to take these whenever you remember is the best time to take them. And there aren't the nuances that often are distractors for people, where they know there's good reason to take them. They understand their why, but it's truly just too complicated to take. And so taking that away is allowing people to see significant changes as well.
Great
And
point.
with these products, do you have to take them with food?
No, because they're whole foods, you do not. That's the other really handy part, that you can literally take them when you remember, whether it's with food or away, morning, noon, or night.
Amazing. Thank you all. Thank you all for sharing your time with the full 3 community worldwide. I know it's been extremely valuable. A lot of great insight with stories, with how it's working with you all, what attracted you, all of it. And, I like to end with, there's so many product videos out there. If it's something you want to dig more into, ask the person that had you watch this and say, okay, I want to know more. Who's this Dr. Dan? If you haven't heard of Dr. Dan Gubler before, we have videos of him. Dr. Alicia has an amazing short product version, 19-minute long product video as well. So we invite you to take more of a look. And of course, if you're a guest, get started. You heard it right here with everyone, that their only regret was that they didn't start sooner. We love our products, and we can't wait to hear your testimonial. Thank you all, and have an amazing night.